There's a Donald Trump sign on my lawn now.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Lydia. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm leaving soon anyway.
Hello, and welcome to the Hamsteak Podcast. My name's Alex, and this is the podcast where we talk about Homestuck and read you about it.
It's true. That's still Alex. I'm Lydia.
I'm still Alex, and I still haven't read it.
I'm still Lydia, and I super have. And we're going to tell you about it today. It's pages 42-21 through 43-48. We're going to meet the last three mystery trolls, and a bunch of them are going to be terrible.
Mm-hmm,
as per usual.
But we're going to learn a bit more about why they're terrible.
That's true. All right. But before we meet the terrible ones, we're going to meet one who's like super lovely and dear to my heart. We meet Kanaya. I can finally say her name. It's good. She's been more and more important. I can say her name now. She's Kanaya.
Yeah. And she's one of the ones that I have heard the name of before, just like from following people who've read it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's nice to finally put a name to the face.
She's very popular. I think she's a fan favorite character.
I can understand why. She seems very good. She's
very cool. Yeah, so she's I mean, all of these trolls are like special snowflakes in different ways, but Kanaya's a special snowflake in that she can tolerate and actually enjoys the sun, which most trolls like can't even be in sunlight.
They're nocturnal?
Yeah.
That was never made clear.
It was like a throwaway thing. It was like briefly discussed as we were introducing Karkat and then just taken for granted with all the rest of the trolls. But like if you notice, like all the backgrounds were like really dark.
Yeah, I just assumed that it was like really stormy out everywhere.
Oh yeah, no, they're nocturnal. They don't go outside during the day.
Except for Kanaya.
Yeah.
And she has this tower, which we've seen before, and it looks like Jade's tower. Mm-hmm. And it's right beside a frog temple, like Jade's. And she enjoys gardening and landscaping, like Jade.
She does, which is, like, also cool because, I don't know, trolls don't like the sun, and so apparently, like, I guess that also means they're not terribly into gardening, so she's very unusual for that as well.
Exactly.
And she also really likes bright colors, which is also unusual for trolls. They're very utilitarian, but she really likes bright colors and, like, beautiful patterns.
I mean, I don't know about that. Like, Terezi has bright colors.
But Terezi's also an exception because she, like, tastes them.
That's true. Well, that's true. But I think before... never mind.
It's just... that's explicit exposition. We're just informed. Hussey isn't always great at showing rather than telling. We are informed that trolls are very utilitarian. Which is fair. Like, if you look at most of their outfits, they're very simple. And Kanaya's outfits are all, like, these extravagant, like, kimonos.
Right,
and gowns and stuff.
That's fair. Because she also has a wardrobifier... set to random, just like Jade did. Mm-hmm. Do you get it? She's like Jade.
She's like Jade, and she's got jade green blood.
Yep.
Whoa. So she's like Jade, but she's also a lot like Rose, because she's really into the spooky occult. Because, like, the sunlight is like, spooky and goth for trolls.
There's undead things that come out during the day.
Right.
When all the little trolls are sleeping.
Right.
But yeah, so she has her trusty chainsaw, which is a lipstick tube.
I love it! I love that.
And that's a callback to the Midnight Crew. Or not.
It is.
Yeah, it is, okay.
Which is in turn a callback to Problem Sleuth.
Right. Exactly. And so yeah, we meet her and she seems nice. And then she talks to another troll.
Right. This is Cuttlefish Color, who is very charming, except for the fact that Hussey puts an arsler in her mouth almost immediately, which is completely out of character for her. Like, completely out of character for her.
Yeah, it's like literally she believes in, like, equality. We learn later.
Yeah, she's like a very active, like, crusader for that stuff. Like,
it's just inconsistent and lazy.
Yeah.
But basically, so she's one of the water trolls.
Correct.
The aquatic trolls, who we haven't met yet at this point. Mm-hmm. And she talks about her relationship with the other aquatic troll, with Kanaya. But we don't really get to see what's going on there yet.
Right. We know that their relationship's a little weird. And she basically, she sees herself as keeping an eye on him because she knows that he tends to be, like, unruly.
Yeah.
We also know that, Cece, hears, like, whispers about the future. Like, her Lucis, presumably, I don't know. It's her Lucis, we're gonna find out later. But, right now it's just a mysterious she who whispers to her about things in the future.
Right, and she's jealous of Kanaya, who has, proper cloud visions like Jade.
Right.
That are more straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those visions told Kanaya that her Lucis is about to die.
Yeah.
We look outside and the virgin mother grub is on the ground. And also, we should mention that she was chosen by the virgin mother grub because of her jade green blood. Mm-hmm. It's, like, incredibly rare, like, never recorded in history before. But
I think the jade green blood is very rare, but then, like, being adopted by a mother grub is, like, it's never happened.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's no historical record of it.
Right.
But she, like, has been seeing visions and stuff, so she sort of, like, she understands that, like, her, by adopting her, like, this mother grub has guaranteed that, like, she will still have progeny, like, by adopting Kanaya. So, and we don't know how that's going to happen yet, but part of it appears to involve the fact that, Kanaya very calmly goes outside to her dead parent and, chainsaws her side open, jams her hand in, and pulls out this thing that looks I haven't actually watched this in years, but it looks like the Funk from Old Greg. Have you seen Old Greg?
I have no idea what you just said.
You've never seen You want some Baileys? It's creamy.
I'm sure this is hilarious.
It's actually really problematic as I reflect on it now.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's...
Oh, is that the, like...
It's a swamp creature hitting on this random guy.
Right.
And then in the middle there's a huge interlude about the Funk.
What are they called? The Great Belush or something?
I don't know.
The comedy guys who made that.
I have no idea. I was I watched it when I was so young that I still, like, assumed all content came from a vacuum.
Okay.
But yeah, like, in the middle of it, there's this interlude about, like, the Funk and how, like, I think it's the band Parliament, like, discovered the Funk underwater. And the Funk is this literal, it's like an organism, and it's like, I think it's actually a ball covered in tits.
Oh.
But, so this is a little bit different, but they're rendered very stylistically as, like, just sort of, like, thin, pointy things. And the object, which we discovered later is called a matriorb, is a sphere. It's, you know,
it's a dark gray soccer ball sized orb.
Yeah.
And it's covered with these troll horns that are kind of growing out of it.
Right.
So it seems to be a kind of embryo.
Right.
Of some sort for a brood.
Right. It has to do with the mysterious process of troll reproduction, which we're going to learn a little bit more about later on, which I guess we can just mention right now. It involves, like, combining genetic material, and so perhaps the matriorb is something like a dryer ball.
Yeah.
For mixing the slurry.
That's a perfect analogy.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that's how the Virgin Queen gets her progeny secured.
Right. Right, is Kanaya stores the matriorb in her chastity modus, which apparently she will serendipitously discover the key to unlock it again in the moment when she needs it.
Yeah. You say something was probably a lot funnier during Twilight?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The whole, like, her being into, like, rainbow drinkers. She's, like, troll vampires.
Okay, right.
You know, she's already, like, spooky, and she's outside during the day, and whatever. But,
I see. So the rainbow drinkers are like the undead, mysterious things.
No, those are literal zombies, and they're real.
Okay.
Which is why she doesn't go outside most of the time during the day. That's why she has the chainsaw, I think, is that so that she can defend herself if she needs to. But
right.
She really likes these rainbow drinkers because she's just obsessed with like goth stuff. They're vampires, and they're supposedly not real, but
they totally are.
They probably are, and she goes to like taste her Lucis's blood, and it's disgusting to her. And there's a blah panel like when Rose tried her mom's martini.
Oh right, nice. That's a nice parallel. Yeah. So we find out that her Moirail, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Is Vriska. And that means that they are in some way romantically entangled, although it's still not clear to us how.
Right.
And that's when she has the conversation with Vriska about their Lucy dying. Oh man, someone is making popcorn, and it smells really good.
Oh no! Last week it was it fish?
It was egg.
Egg!
Man, my neighbors are very prolific cooks.
Yeah, wow, they've got some really, really serious range on those.
The two food groups.
Guys, don't you wish that we could present this podcast to you in smell-o-vision so we could all be immersed in the culinary miasma?
That's a good nickname, or not nickname, episode title?
Immersed in the culinary miasma?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you say culinary?
Yeah.
Okay, I say culinary.
That's probably correct.
I like culinary, though. That's cute.
Thanks.
So they have that conversation, and then the final troll, Caligula's aquarium, contacts Vriska. Oh,
he's the worst! This is the worst!
Really?
Troll.
Interesting. So I was kind of distracted by the fact that his name, like, literally references a Earth historical figure. Mm-hmm. But then there is, like, troll Will Smith and everything, so it's fine.
Correct.
Yeah. She calls it his accent silly. And what his typing quirk is mostly he doubles W's and V's.
Yeah.
And that kind of gives it to me when she said he has a funny accent that made him like transform into a Dracula voice. Like,
fine.
Who gives a shit?
Honestly, I think there's really no good fandom consensus for what his accent is supposed to be.
Right, because later we find out it's supposed to be wavy, which doesn't really make sense as a human concept.
Right.
Oh, they burned their popcorn.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
It's a good thing this isn't smell-o-vision.
And they're talking about her visions as well. And he says he has clouds too, and they don't tell him shit.
They show him, like, visions of mayhem and destruction and, like, suffering, apparently.
Right.
He's very sad. Oh, there's a really good line somewhere. Oh, she hasn't said it yet. She's gonna say... Oh, no, there was one really good line already that she said when she was talking to Cuddlefish Color, who I want to just, like, mention because it's funny to me. Just to, like, totally derail this for a second. There's a bunch of good lines here. But so one of them is, so Cuddlefish Colors, her whole typing quirk is that, so she's got the Pisces symbol, which is kind of like two parentheses facing the wrong way. So that, like,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And so that's what she makes her H's into, but then also her thing is pitchforks, or I guess tridents, and so mm-hmm. her capital E's, she'll, like, put a bunch of dashes in front of it to make it look like a pitchfork.
And the more excited she is, the more dashes.
The more dashes.
And Kanaya's like, that E kind of got away from you, huh?
She says, you forked an innocent D loitering over there by the shout pole, minding its own business.
Yeah.
She calls it, what I love about it is that she calls it a shout pole. Anyway, so we're talking about Caligula's aquarium, he's terrible. He calls Kanaya the village bike of, he calls it the village two-wheel device.
I don't understand what that means.
You've never heard the expression, the village bicycle?
No.
It's slut-shaming.
Oh,
like,
okay.
everybody hops on and rides.
Ooh, the ant is exploring my leg.
Hello! We need to, start crediting this ant.
Yeah, so for the past couple of weeks, I've had an ant in my apartment, but it's only one ant, so, like, I've only ever seen one at a time, and she's just kind of, like, exploring everywhere, and there's really no food out for her, so eventually she'll just, like, patrol somewhere else, but she just kind of, like, crawls onto my leg sometimes, and I'm like, oh, hello.
Oh my god, you have a pet ant. Are you aware of this? What
should I name her?
The first thing that popped into my head was Vriska, but don't do that.
I won't.
You should name her Crowdome.
Crowdome?
I don't know, I'm looking at the list of band names.
Oh, okay.
You should name her... No, you should name her... We're going to come with something original here.
Meredith.
Meredith! I have an aunt, Meredith.
Oh, lovely.
That's beautiful.
This podcast is brought to you by Meredith the ant, who lives with me.
Hell yeah!
Okay, so...
So CA is calling Kanaya the village bicycle because she apparently mediates everyone, and that's also like a romantic entanglement sort of a thing, is to mediate people who are having disputes, because troll romance.
Right. Okay, Meredith, on my hand, just like, alright, I'm gonna flicker her away. She'll be fine. Oh, no, she's too fast. This makes for riveting radio, I know. Alright.
I assumed you were gonna edit it out, but yeah, I think we should absolutely broadcast.
Oh no, Meredith is our third co-host.
That's true.
So yeah, Kanaya and, CA talk about some relationships.
Yeah, CA is trying to get her to put him in touch with Vriska because he needs to plan the, like, doomsday device scenario, and she's like, why would I help you with that?
Yeah.
Literally
because she's, like, rational and not genocidal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she also mentions that, aside from her clouds, she also has another source of information to know what's going on. Oh, right. She says, like, you don't have to worry about, like, committing genocide because the entire world is going to blow up tonight.
Right.
And she's like, I have, like, besides the clouds, I have another source telling me about it. Correct. And what that source is, she connects to it, and it is Rose's server.
Yeah.
I totally called this.
You did, and I was trying really hard to be cagey about it.
Yeah, you were like, I'm not sure, I don't remember.
I actually, full disclosure, I didn't remember.
That's what I thought. Which
is preposterous because this is actually, it's very important that Kanaya has been reading Rose's
right, because you said, like, if it does happen, it obviously isn't important because I don't remember.
Yeah, no, it's very important. I just didn't remember.
Yeah, so what she does is, like, she's reading this game pack, so she knows kind of what's happening. And she assumes because these kids who were in this session were so knowledgeable and figured out everything so intelligently that their session must have gone very well. And she imagines we get an image of Rose as a troll because there's no way for Kanaya to know that she is not a troll, and just like looking super badass, like with her black magic knitting needle. It's very cool.
It's so cool. She thinks Rose is so cool. She doesn't know how it ends, but she's just like imagining that they're very successful, and I love it.
Yeah, and the narration's like, you could not possibly imagine ever speaking to this person.
Right, because she's probably been dead for millions of years.
Right, of course.
Haha.
Anyway, we jump straight from that to Tavros entering the land of Sand and Zephyr.
Get ready to be really uncomfortable with how Vriska treats him and also how Hussey handles the whole thing.
Yeah, so first of all, it's like very funny that the guy in a wheelchair is on the sand planet.
Oh,
like,
I didn't even catch that one.
Quote unquote funny.
Like, I literally did not even catch the sand gag. I caught that, he's on, his house is a windmill.
Yeah.
So, like, Don Quixote reference. Because he jousts.
Oh, okay, nice.
Tilting at windmills, yeah. But yeah, so, and then Vriska is his server player, because, because Karkat needed her to enter the game. And so she did build him a ramp to get him into the game, to, like, save his life. She has now built exclusively stairs. Yeah,
and she, gleefully wants him to, climb the stairs, by which she means crawl up the stairs laboriously.
Yeah.
And she's saying, oh, it's gonna make you strong, oh, you're so weak, I'm gonna make you so strong and such a good player. Remember when we, like, flarped? That was so much fun, but you're such a weak player. Ha ha ha. And he just, like, kind of takes it.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really have any retorts. He just kind of, like, nuh-uh.
Which, honestly, I strongly empathize with, because that's how I behave when people are shitty in the way that Vriska is shitty. I just shut down, because it's just, like... I think Aradia says exactly that, like, exactly this, which is just, like, you can't win, like, even if you beat her, she still wins. Because she's just so insufferable. Yeah, exactly. And also Tavros is not the quickest draw, probably, I would say. No, the poor guy. I mean, I'm not saying, like, he's dumb. I'm just saying, like, he doesn't have any witty comebacks, really. Yeah, he's not combative. What's happening is she's needling him. She wants to be, like, it seems, I mean, and what's about to happen kind of details this a little bit further, but she's, like, half teasing him, half trying to, like, start a rivalry with him, and he won't engage her in either direction. He's kind of just wants to be left alone. Yeah, exactly. In fact, he very badly wants to be left alone. She keeps asking him to apologize for being paralyzed. She uses the word crippled a bunch of times, and he's like, I'm not going to apologize for being paralyzed. He actually says, that's ridiculous given the circumstances, and I won't do it. Yeah. But she won't let him get out of it. She's like, because she's his server player, she can't touch him, but she grabs his chair, which I kind of feel like she shouldn't be able to grab because it's an assistive... I don't know, that seems weird. But she grabs it and, like, physically shakes him back and forth. Yeah. It's awful. Like, and I honestly can't tell if this is supposed to be, like, dark humor that you kind of... Hussey, like, imagines that you kind of laugh at but feel bad about. Because, just, like, as an adult who, like, has grown past, like, jokes about disabled people... This is just horrible. Yeah. No, it really is. I think I can remember having laughed at this situation, but I felt, like, sick and, like, sad. Yeah. For like, you just feel so bad for Tavros and like, it's garbage. And there's no reason, I mean, like, there are other ways to show that Vriska is a terrible human being. Yeah, we've already established that she's a mass murderer. Yeah. But that's not enough in this comic. No. Anyway, so then, so it awakens his self-esteem, which is literally Dante Bosco in the movie, what's it actually called? Where Peter Pan is a grown-up. I think it's just called Pan. Okay, yeah. I think. Dante Bosco has that hair. Yeah, with big, Tavros horns. Mm-hmm. And I did actually forget that there's a troll who's literally just Dante Bosco. And, like, Dante Bosco is a reader now because people kept telling him about this. Yeah. Yeah, he got really into the fandom for a while. I'm not sure if he still is. But he, like, would show up in conventions and stuff. Yeah. I think in cosplay. Oh my god. I'm sure he, like, read the end. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good joke. I wish there was a better circumstance for Rufio to come out. I agree. But Tavros just kind of, like, pushes him back in. He's like, not now. Now is not the time for Rufio to come to play. Yeah. Well, he, like, remembers that he's not real. Oh, yeah. And then gets, like, sad and is just, like, sitting in his chair, like, ugh. And then, so, but then Kanaya is watching all of this happen, like, via, Vriska, because Kanaya is Vriska's server player, and she, like, bumps her in the head with her toilet, and is like, can you not? Like, can you be less awful?
Yeah, and, she's like, I'm still figuring out these controls. I have no idea if I'm gonna, like, drop the contents of the toilet on your head or not.
It could happen at any time.
That gets Vriska to stop.
Yeah. She's like, she keeps trying to say, like, I'm just trying to help him, and Kanaya says, think of another way to help.
Yeah. And she does. She goes down the stairs to one of her loot rooms. She has lots of those because she, I guess, steals all the stuff that her victims have.
Right.
So, and she, like, you know, is a pirate. Mm-hmm. Like her. So she grabs the rocket boots that she has down there, and she gets the, captcha code for them, which is shoes.
Right.
In, callback to, the rocket pack that John had.
Mm-hmm. Which was Pachoo, which he didn't believe was really the captcha code.
Right. Right. And then she and Tavros combine the rocket shoes with his wheelchair and give him a rocket chair, which is cool.
Which is, like, way easier as a solution. Like,
yeah, I mean,
come
like,
on.
It's, Vriska was just being horrible.
Yeah, it has super cool flames on it. Like,
yeah, it does. And it's, like, shaped like a go-kart.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But, like, a cool one.
And he looks so happy once he actually gets it. He's like...
Yeah, he gets that, like, stupid little grin. I love him.
Yeah. And then he immediately flies. It's like, now he doesn't even have to climb the stairs, period. Like, he just flies straight up and, like, through his first gate.
Which leads him straight to Vriska's house, and he crashes into her bedroom.
Oh, no. And then there's this scene.
So Vriska was asleep, we assume, on Prospect Arturs. And then she wakes up.
Oh, no, she's in her own house. Oh, well, she's dreaming on Prospect Arturs.
Yeah.
Right.
And then she wakes up and sees that Tavros is caught in a spider web, hanging from a hole in her wall.
Right.
She dumps him out onto the floor. He can't get up.
Yeah, and so she starts, like, one-sidedly, like, he's just, like, lying there kind of dazed. I think he's in shock. And she's, like, reenacting what she later reveals is a very poorly remembered version of the story of Pupa Pan.
Right.
Which involves, like, flinging... She's wearing a different dress. She was just wearing, like, jeans and a shirt, and now she's wearing, like, this white dress with, like a frayed hem and some, like...
And fairy wings.
And she sprinkles some fairy dust on his face, or special stardust.
Which is just, like, sparkle, like, glitter.
It's just glitter. She throws glitter on his face, and so now he's got glitter in his eyes, and he's on the floor and can't get up. And she's like, oh, he still can't fly because he's not thinking happy thoughts. And so she hoists him up by the front of his shirt, which she's also very strong, apparently. She hoists him up by the front of his shirt, like, kisses him aggressively, which he's not into. He's, like, flailing and, like, confused and alarmed, and then, like, stares at him, and we see, like, a flickering gif between their faces that's, like, like a heart or a spade with a question mark.
Yeah.
She can't decide in what way she's attracted to him, because troll romance. But then she, like, dumps him on the floor, manipulates him into being attracted to her romantically, and he, like, starts trying to, like, pull himself up to kiss her again, and she's, like, disgusted by that, and, like, demanipulates him and drops him back on the floor again.
Yes. And of course, Kanaya has seen this whole thing.
Yeah.
And Kanaya has feelings for Vriska.
Yeah.
And she sewed that dress for Vriska. And she's not happy about this.
No. It's really sad. So what we kind of glossed over is the fact that, like, there were little bits of, like, I don't know, like, little hints dropped, not very subtle, like, up until now about how Kanaya's, like, you know, she and Vriska, are Moirails, but, she thinks maybe she has different feelings or whatever, and yeah, she super had a crush on Vriska, which seems weird, but, because Vriska's a terrible person, but she had a crush on her.
I mean, that doesn't seem to factor in to this.
No, that's true. but so then she sees Vriska, like, kissing Tavros, and, like, also, I guess, being a shitty person, and it's just, like, she starts crying, and fortunately her Lucis is now, like, part of a kernel, and it can, like, she can talk to her and, like, comforts her and everything.
Yeah, her name is Mother Sprite.
Yeah. She is a terrifying, like, large insect with a skull with lips and horns. But... yeah,
I mean, she's less large than she was in life.
True.
I think she's cool. She looks cool.
I think she looks cool, too. It reminds me of this sci-fi story that I read a lot of years ago about, you know, this hypothetical future where humans had formed, like, they had formed a society with this alien species that was, like, kind of like, a millipede the length of a room.
Okay.
And they, like, have, like, and so it's mostly the story of just, like, this boy coming of age with his, like, aunt, who is, you know, not really his aunt, but best friends with his mother, and she's a room-sized millipede.
You're gonna have to link me to that.
I will try to remember to do so. It's the parallels don't stop there. Like, I think at some point, like, I can't say more about where the parallels are because it totally spoils the story. But it's
okay.
Oh, it's a weird one. But anyway, so okay.
So it's time for troll romance exposition.
Oh boy.
So I'm gonna try to summarize this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then Lydia will go into more detail.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there's instead of just romantic love.
Wait, we don't go into troll romance just yet. We have a whole thing with the treasure map. There's the treasure map, and then he ends up in Vriska's room. But wait, okay. So the thing that I wanted to say is just that this is kind of important. That we don't see this happen. Vriska has to, like, fill us in, but Tavros has made it, like, pretty far in the game without killing anything because
that is important.
Yeah.
So what he's been doing is communing with the denizens and the imps on his planet, and instead of getting XP, he's been solving puzzles with them, which consists of going into these temples and digging up pieces of these mosaics, basically, that are shaped like amphibians.
Right. And so, yeah, he's managed not to kill anything, which immediately reminded me of Undertale.
Exactly. That's definitely not a coincidence.
But what I think is cool is... Sorry, wait, go ahead.
It also is a parallel to his Flarp level, mm-hmm. where, like, he was the class that got no abilities until, like, he levels up a lot.
Right.
So in this one, he's just not leveling up at all.
True. But he's moving along in the world a whole bunch. And acquiring this army of imps and ogres, and, like, it's a huge army of like, creatures that are following him around at this point.
Yeah, he's got, like, several dozen of these orange creatures just kind of toting along behind him.
Yeah. Vriska shows a rare, like, moment of, like, perceptiveness where she actually says, like, you know, I think you, I bet you would try to get through this whole game without killing anything, but maybe that's okay. Maybe it's just your style, and your real strength is surrounding yourself with allies who are much stronger than you. And, like, yeah.
She also says allies who are stronger than you, like me. But, you know. But yeah, that is perceptive.
And that's a great strategy. Like, why is she complaining? That's an awesome strategy.
Yeah. I mean, for her, probably seems
feeble,
weak, and like cull-worthy.
Yeah. But that's because she's awful. I think it's a great strategy.
Me too. No, yeah, that definitely struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so troll romance.
Oh boy.
Instead of one kind of romance represented by a heart, there are... Oh, hello, Meredith. There are...
Meredith's back because she wants to... Meredith's like got her chin in her hands. She's excited to hear about romance.
There are 4 types of romance represented by the 4 suits of the card deck. Basically, there's romance. There's red romance, which is, or flush romance.
It's. Do you mean? Are you talking about one quadrant or one like hemisphere?
But yeah, so there's okay, so there's the black and red suits. And they're in a grid. And so there's what we would call, I guess, like romantic versus platonic.
Sure.
But they're like more intense than that, I guess.
Yeah.
That's just like the human approximation. And then, so those are like the west and east hemispheres. And then the top hemisphere is kind of like functional relationships or like positive relationships.
Right.
And the bottom hemisphere is like dysfunctional or negative relationships.
Yeah.
So the heart is like 2 people who like each other, who like are in a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the spade is the black romance, which is people who hate each other and
want to smash.
And the thing is that is not just like a weird cultural thing. It's literally necessary for reproduction. Like, to reproduce, there needs to be genetic material both from a heart relationship and a spade relationship. And if you don't have both when the royal drone comes a-knockin', you're just gonna like get killed immediately. So all members of Troll Society need to have a nemesis who they're boning.
Right. So that sort of explains some things about how this society works.
Yeah.
And so sort of emerging, especially from the need to have a nemesis that you want to... also I think it's interesting that the examples that Hussey chooses to give us of like red romance and black romance respectively are... we haven't seen this really so far, but John's dad and Rose's mom are, red heart for each other. We see them holding hands.
Right.
And which I think is super cute. And then the example of black romance is Jack Noir and the Black Queen.
Right, and what it says is like humans looking at that relationship wouldn't really understand what's going on, but a troll would like spot immediately that it's black romance. Right. And they would think that we're stupid for not noticing. And the text says that we are.
Right. Thanks, Hussey.
Thanks. And then there's also... Is that where Aradia and Equius are as well?
They're sort of uncomfortably vacillating where... it's portrayed as both of them flipping, but it's basically Equius just can't decide if he hates her or loves her, but he super wants to smash.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the 2, like, passionate relationship types. There's also the more platonic ones.
Right.
And these all can, like, vacillate between each other. Like, a platonic relationship can become, like, half passionate or completely passionate, and it's all messy.
Right, basically. So basically what they're trying to say, I don't know, the best way to disambiguate that, because talking about things in quadrants like this, and then talking about people vacillating, makes it really confusing. And to be fair, the reader has to do a bunch of this interpretive work themselves, but the best and easiest explanation that, and he sort of does explain this, is that, like, boy, it sure sounds like those are, a whole spectrum of social dynamics that would happen anyway. Correct. And it's more like there are, like, strong biological drives in play. Like, your monkey brain is involved, or I guess your fish brain for this species. in a way that, like, your monkey brain is involved in like your sexy nemesis relationship in a way that, like, it's not for people. Like, you know how, like,
Right.
like, I don't know, maybe it's not like this. I know that it's not like this for everyone, but for a lot of people, we have this whole idea that, like, you meet someone that you're romantically attracted to, and it's like this special magical thing, because your brain is biologically calibrated to do that, so you feel really driven to pursue it. And for trolls, they have that kind of a system going on for all of these different kinds of relationships. But that doesn't mean that their actual interpersonal feelings aren't still weird and complicated.
Yeah, so basically, it says, like, what drives trolls is their, like, very strong belief that they have romantic destinies, and not only, like, a romantic destiny, but they have, like, basically 4 soulmates out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the purpose of life is to find your soulmates.
Yeah, which is sounds kind of charming, is actually probably kind of toxic.
Oh, yeah, because half of your soulmates are people that you hate.
Yeah.
So there's moirails, who are, like, the positive platonic soulmates, who are just, like, in theory, they're supposed to be, like, good friends who balance each other, like, because trolls are selectively bred to be very aggressive.
Yeah.
If you pair an aggressive troll with a more docile troll, like Equius and Nepeta, in theory, they're supposed to balance each other out, although that kind of relationship can get really toxic, like those two.
Right.
But we're actually shown a good example of that relationship, which is the water trolls. And the text is like, oh, this is a great, like, opportunity to segue into meeting them. And then it's like, no, wait, we want to learn more about troll romance.
Right.
As a joke. And then it tells us about the final one, I think.
Right.
Which is these... so that was... Moirails are, like, the diamond. Mm-hmm. So there's, like, 2. And then there's the clubs. So there's 3 trolls involved. And that's, like, two trolls who are, like, in opposition.
Right, but they're not kismeses. Like, the idea is this relationship, like, the evolutionary purpose of this relationship is to make it so that people have an easier time sticking with just one, you know.
Right. So there's a mediator, basically, between these 2 bickering trolls to stop them from getting so wrapped up in their anger that they become black romantic.
Or that they also don't get so aggressive that they, like, destroy planets. Right, which is the thing trolls do.
Yeah, and it's also to, like, make sure there's a balance. Like, because there needs to be half and half, basically, of heart relationships and spade relationships.
Right.
So if all these bickering trolls, because trolls are going to bicker, if all of them develop into black romance, then that's going to throw everything out of balance.
Right. It's so hard to talk seriously about this shit.
It is, but also now that, like, I have the framework for this, it's so much, like, easier to understand what the trolls are, like, doing.
Right.
Like I can look at the word moirail and, like, not have to worry about what that means because I get the gist.
Right.
But also it's just it's so stupid. Like, I don't.
It's really dumb and unnecessary.
Yeah, it's dumb is what it is.
It's dumb and unnecessary, and it's kind of a lazy way to write a bunch of interpersonal drama into your characters' relationships instead of just the completely legitimate, like, interpersonal grievances and support systems that they've clearly, like, that we already watched unfolding that had nothing to do necessarily with, you know, this black romance. Like, Aradia doesn't want to, like, hate bang Vriska. She just hates her for paralyzing her friend.
Yeah, and I feel like this, like, it is kind of a, like, cool in concept for, like, a social structure that is radically different from ours. But the thing is that it's not, like, it's executed in a way that it's not radically different. It's just, like, different framing.
Yeah.
And also, it's just not very well executed, I think. It's not clear, and it's not very parsable.
I agree. It's one of those things that, like, it's very it's one of the many ways in which Hussey had a cool idea and then executed it terribly, and then the fandom went and ran with it in some really interesting, reflective directions.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Also a lot of terrible directions.
Sure.
Probably more terrible directions than interesting, reflective ones, but, you know.
Sure. Alright, so now we finally meet the last two trolls.
The fish trolls!
Yes. The first is Eridan, who is Caligula's aquarium.
Yes.
His Lucis is a seahorse that he can fly in the air.
Right.
Which is very cool. And he's presented as, like, a super badass. And we meet him as he's watching the storm clouds, and he fires a gun, like a laser gun of some kind, and shoots a sky whale out of the clouds into the sea.
Yes.
Which is some poor troll's Lucis, but, you know, too bad for them.
There's a very good reason that he's doing this, actually, and it's not
There
just
is.
that he's a genocidal asshole. There's, like, a very real and actually important reason that he's doing this, unfortunately.
So he is a genocidal asshole.
Also.
But also he and the second troll, Feferi, need to work together to feed Feferi's Lucis, which is, like, the Leviathan, basically.
Right. Her name is Glub.
She's a building-sized, like, hill-sized mass of tentacles.
Yeah.
With a beak. And this enormous sky whale, like, is like a cracker to her.
Yeah, it's like it's like an oyster cracker. It's just like the tiniest little, like, morsel.
Yeah.
For her. And then, oh my god, and, like, Feferi is like a speck compared to her.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, she's so creepy looking. That's Feferi's mom!
Yep. But yeah, so these guys look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Eridan is the pinstripe guy that we saw so long ago.
Right.
He's got a really goofy, but I kind of like it design.
Yeah, he's meant to look... You gotta remember this was like 2008 or 2009. He looks like a hipster.
I was gonna say, like, Doctor Strange.
That too. I guess I didn't really have a good schema for Doctor Strange. He's got pinstripe pants, bowling shoes. I think he's wearing
rings
a
on
cape.
his fingers.
Does he have a cape?
Yeah, he's wearing a cape with a big
collar. What a
yeah.
jackass!
I love him.
Eridan sucks. I'm like, ugh.
I love him. I love him visually. Like, he's so over the top. So what I've been picturing this whole time for our pinstriped friend was kind of the complete opposite direction. I was imagining, like, a portly, like, Victorian with a bowler cap, a bowler hat. And, like, a handlebar mustache.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Which doesn't make any sense because it's a kid.
Well, but that's his personality, or at least that's the persona that he, like, cultivates. It's really funny because he basically tries to present that persona, but then is also, like, an incredibly whiny teenage boy.
Yeah. He's kind of set up similar to Equius, but I like him a lot better than Equius so far because he hasn't done anything, like, objectively horrible, I guess.
Right, he's not actively, like, a shitlord to people. He's actively, definitely insufferable and kind of, I don't know, presumptuous, but not, like, hostile. He doesn't bully. Exactly.
Yeah.
I promise he's a shitlord, though. This is a bad character.
Sure. Okay. Well, he had a good first impression. He
makes it a more... Oh, man.
He seems more nuanced than someone like Equius or...
Right. He's less of a caricature, but no less of a villain.
Yeah. So basically, his deal is that he is a purple blood.
Yeah.
Which means he's royalty. He's above blue bloods.
Right.
And purple bloods live in the sea. They have, like, a mutation that gives them gills and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually doesn't live in the sea.
Right. He lives on the edge of the water.
Yeah, and he says it's to keep an eye on the land dwellers.
Right.
And then we meet his friend, Thefri, who is not only a purple blood, but the purplest blood. Mm-hmm. She is, like, the highest in the caste system.
It's magenta.
It's a dark magenta, yeah. And it's like, she is the empress when the current empress dies.
It's true.
And that's why she has that Lucis.
Right.
But she doesn't like the caste system. She doesn't like the culling. She wants weak trolls to be cared for. And she collects sea animals and, like, cares for them in her palace.
Yeah. And she immediately, like, in the first conversation we see her have with Eridan, he keeps, going on about, like, lousy land dwellers or whatever. And she's just like, we're literally equal, like, you're being dumb.
Yeah, and also, like, you've spent, like, a few days total ever with us purple bloods. Because you don't like going underwater, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing that you need to know about these characters is that they are Moirails. Eridan being the more violent partner in this
mm-hmm.
Moira allegiance is the name for a Moira relationship. I'm sorry, this comic. I'm sorry. I hate that word is readily available to me in my vocabulary. I know
Moira allegiance.
Moira allegiance, yeah.
Yeah, but they're set up as much more functional than Equius and Nepeta.
Right, but they're like, I think Kanaya and Vriska are like a very healthy Moirail relationship.
Okay.
Where Kanaya seems to do a pretty good job actually of keeping Vriska in line as well as she possibly could.
Right.
Anyway. But so what I'm trying to say is Eridan is 100% in the friend zone of Thefri, in as much as, like, the friend zone is only ever a problem if you're, like, a resentful shithead, which he totally is. She just wants to be friends with him, and he, like, is definitely into her, but, like, won't say anything about it. And is just kind of, like, sullen about it, and, like, trying to complain to other people about it behind her back, and it's annoying to watch.
Yeah.
Remember when the friend zone was a buzzword? I guess you don't really care about the friend zone anymore.
I'm not really hung up on it, no.
Okay.
Are you, like, embittered?
I get annoyed by the friend zone, because it's like, it's real. Like, I don't know. It's a thing that resentment over the friend zone, like, is bad and makes it hard to be friends with dudes.
Yeah.
So it's a little annoying, and I think this is an example of very effective use of a cliche to characterize a character.
Right.
I don't know. I find him insufferable. But,
okay.
But whatever. You clearly really like him, which is like...
I don't like him. I think he's a cool character so far.
Okay.
He is, and, like, I really like his design. Like, it fits, it, like, strikes a really good balance between, like, over the top and, like, actually cool.
That's true.
But I don't doubt that he is a horrible person if you say so.
He's like, I probably should stop talking about that because I think it's supposed to be more of a surprise that he's an awful person. But I don't know. I guess, like, the genocidal impulses thing wasn't meant to read quite so shockingly.
Yeah, it's not, like, at this point it isn't surprising to learn that one of these kids is, like, a genocide enthusiast.
Like, he full on just wants to murder every land dweller.
Yeah, and Thefri says, like, look, all your doomsday plans have failed so far. I think deep down you don't want them to come to fruition.
Right.
And he's like, how dare you?
He is. Then they talk about their feelings for a while. They talk about romance.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't care about their romantic inclinations, really.
No, but they do have a good partnership. And they, when they're instructed to do something silly, they in the like shitty drawing style, race towards each other and fist bump in midair to the tune of "Hell Fucking Yes" over multiple panels.
Yes.
So it's cool. They're cool.
It's very cute.
We find out that Fefri's destiny is to unite the two races.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that means land trolls and sea trolls, or trolls and humans, or something else.
I straight up don't remember.
Nice.
At all. That I'm drawing a total blank there, so we can all speculate together. I don't think, again, I'm not sure it's important. Like,
okay.
I'm not sure that Feferi's role is important. I think other things that come into play are more important in bringing about the thing that this is foreshadowing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's the reading.
That's it.
I think coming away from this, I'm relieved to kind of have a framework, literally, so it's a grid, for troll romance, even if it's dumb. Just so that like whenever it comes up, Lydia doesn't have to like placate me with saying it's complicated.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely remember the first time I read that exposition, like, being a really nice, like, everything kind of falling into place, but also that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listener questions.
Listener questions. If you want to send us a question, you can send us an ask. We are hamsteakpodcast.tumblr.com. We have an on turned on, so you can go ahead and get weird, and we want to know who you are. What? Don't get too weird, but...
Yeah, so I just want to... we're not going to answer this, but an anonymous sent us a question, best waifu and why? Smirky emoji. Don't do that.
Best waifu? As in, like, which of these characters do you want to smooch?
Yeah, but, like, in a gross, like, appropriating Japanese culture way.
Oh.
Like a weeaboo way.
Oh. Don't do that.
No, it's a bad word, and you should feel ashamed.
Yeah. That's a weird... all of these characters are 13 years old.
Exactly.
Like, what is wrong with you?
That's not salient.
Yeah.
But...
I like Maple Puff.
Salient to that, Pastor asks us on Tumblr, this podcast would be more fun if either/both of you did even the most rudimentary amount of shipping. And I'm going to have to take umbrage with you, Brian. Umbrage. I don't think shipping is necessary, and I'm not interested in it.
I don't think it's necessary. I do agree that it makes things fun.
Okay, well, I don't want it to be part of this podcast.
Wait, okay, but I have ships.
I don't.
They're canon, though. It's okay. I'm not going to ship at you. Like, I'm just going to, get really happy when they become salient.
The only ship that I know is Dave Cat.
Oh, no, and that never really even goes much of anywhere as far as I can remember. It might after the point where I let off reading. Because I think it was angling that way, but, and that shouldn't be a spoiler, because it will be whacked over your head a million times. As at least, fan baiting, if nothing else. But, no, there's other ships. There's a million characters, and they all have stupid entanglements with each other. I definitely have at least one ship that I think you will agree is a good couple, and you'll be happy to see them get together when they very far in the future do.
It's the same thing, like, they're 13, like, I don't want, like, I'm not interested in thinking about them being in love.
Oh, I think it's sweet, like, it's, like, sweet, it's not one of these, like, troll, like, romance, like, oh, like, we hate each other and we want to bang, it is, like, two kids, but they're just, like, it's like a very cute, like, actually functional, like, young relationship, and it's really sweet to see.
I mean, that's fine. I just, like, I'll take that when the story gives it to me. I'm not interested in speculating on that. I never have been.
Oh, Oh, yeah, no, I don't do that. I guess that's really what they mean by shipping. Yeah, I'm not here to, like, obsess about which characters are, like, super into each other. Like, you watch that stuff unfold as it unfolds. But there are certain relationships that that I have a big, giant soft spot for. One in particular.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm not trying to grill you for that.
Yeah, I'm into it in the way that you really like
Coruscant.
Yeah, where like you weren't like flipping out about it until the show gave you like a reason to be like, I think these characters genuinely might be attracted to each other, and with good reason.
Yeah, it's like when the story is like hinting at it, and like you have every reason to believe that you're not gonna be like queer baited, then it's nice.
Right.
Yeah. Pastor also asks, with so much more now revealed, thoughts on Alternia society as a whole? Which I think we've gone into. It's messed up and weird and interesting and poorly executed.
Yeah. And poorly executed. Oh man, there's a bunch of... Damn it, there's a bunch of very salient information to that question that we're not going to learn for thousands of pages.
Yeah. Also, we have to wrap it up.
Oh yeah, we gotta go get to our real life obligations. Do we have any more questions?
Dwellington has 2 questions as well.
Oh, thanks.
First, why do you two say homesteak so often, but never hamstocks or hymsticks or hamstocks? And I think it's just the way that garbled words come out of our mouths.
It's the phonotactics of English. Certain syllables follow more logically after others.
I like hamstocks.
Hamstock, you would have to like. The thing is, like, you could mean to say homestuck and accidentally halfway through start to say hamsteak, but like if you start saying hamsteak, you've already committed to articulating.
And ham stuck like requires the kind of like a 45-degree turn halfway through the word, if that makes sense.
Right. Whereas homesteak podcast
is completely natural and is what language was invented to say.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to publicly confess my shameful love for the beautiful trash character Vriska. Who are your problematic faves? Which was in double quotes.
Yours is Aridin.
Look, I just met the guy.
He's really bad. Who's my problematic fave? Ooh. I don't think Vriska's necessarily a fave. I think I really like... I like Terezi, and she's done some pretty bad stuff. I like, in a different way, I really like Jack, even though he's just an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a problematic fave.
I mean, I think like most of the characters in this comic do not good things.
Right.
But they're characters. They're not people, and I don't think problematic faves as a concept really should apply to characters, because they do bad things because of narrative reasons, not because they have problematic politics or beliefs.
I think that's what the double quotes were for.
I see.
You know, how, like when you apply that construct to made up characters instead of real people, it becomes like kind of you're just playing at it at that point.
Sure, and I don't think that you have to be shameful of your love for the beautiful trash character Vriska, because she's well written, I assume. Or just
she gets to do a lot of interesting things and go through a lot of interesting changes.
Yeah, like the entire like. I don't know. I don't want to like go on a rant about Tumblr fandom, but like the idea that like characters who do bad things are like off limits is absurd, and like the idea that like they're like people say like if you if you like a villain, you're a bad person. Like, if you think this murderer is charming, you're, like, evil. And, like, that's not how fiction works. That's not how it works.
Well, so I agree with you, but I also think that part of what that sort of body of opinion is getting at is not so much like you find this murderer charming as like you attempt to exonerate them, which I do agree is not a healthy way to engage with someone who is like quite, who does not even necessarily someone who's explicitly painted as evil, because I think that itself is sort of an irrelevant concept, but it's more like if they do a bunch of terrible shit and then you exonerate them for that terrible shit because they're charming.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't do that. That's not good. But also they're fictional characters, so like kind of who gives a shit?
Yeah, you're not like you liking a character or hating a character if they're supposed to be hated is like that reflects the writer, not the character.
Right.
So like, if anything, Andrew Hussey is my problematic fave for, like, writing well and then fucking up a bunch.
There you go. You know what? Actually, very true. And he's a real person, so it's like, It does literally apply. He, like, his work is kind of a fave. He's very problematic. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Good question.
Yeah, thanks.
If you guys have questions that have spoilers in them, you should hit me up personally. I'm Brickchip on Tumblr and on Twitter, and I have a non turned on as well.
Nice, good organic flow. If you want to find me on the internet, I'm Crunchleaf on Twitter and LeafCrunch on Tumblr.
Nice.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time that we record this podcast.
We will.